Welcome to Comics with Jose. My name is Jose. I love comics and I want to share them with you. Follow me on Twitter at Art of J. Velez or on Instagram at jvelez622. I share some doodles and drawings as well as a comic book that I'm working on free of charge. Like, follow, and subscribe if you enjoy this. We'll go over comic books that I have and enjoy. However, I do use the digital version for the purposes of this. We kind of review the artwork and the story of comic books that I think are pretty cool and I think people should read and get. Hope you enjoy it. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. Hope I haven't been boring you with these videos here. Today we are going to do Thor 339 by the one and only Walter Simonson. My absolute, he's just absolutely one of my most favorite comic book artists of all time. He's in my top 3. So depending on my mood, he could be my favorite. Could be Tom McFarlane, it could be Jim Lee. But it's Walt is up there. He is absolutely incredible. This is from 1983, and we are continuing the saga of Beta Ray Bill. So, we have what appears to be a new hammer coming in. So, Simonson's great signature. It's supposed to be a dinosaur. He loves dinosaurs, so he made his signature into one. Love his art, love his poses, everything. I mean, Walter Simonson is a master storyteller. Just absolutely love his work. So we start where we left off. Odin has rescued Beta Ray Bill and Thor from their fight. Walter Simonson did the story and the art, and the lettering is with John Workman Jr., who he basically is Walter Simonson's letterer. He has such unique lettering. If you take a look at his S's, you see the S like here in arouse and silence is. Look, I have done a pretty good job and copy this S. So when I letter my comic book that I'm working, that you can find on Twitter, free. I do this for fun, people. So nothing costs you. Life is expensive. I can give you a free story. So it's on my Twitter and my Instagram, Art of J. Velez, if you care to look at it, or jvelez62 on Instagram. So, and I took a couple of his letters. The S is one of them. The E, if you take a look at his E, it's very, I know you can't tell here in the nice little, but this middle thing, the middle part of the E is actually closer to the top than it is to the bottom, and I have stolen that as well. So, and then the U are the 3 letters that I took. If you see his U right here, it looks like an L and then an I that just cuts right through it. And so I took his U. So those are the 3 letters of his that nope, I lied. I took one more letter, the R. And if you take a look at that R with that long, and then right here, so those are the 4 letters. No other, I promise you. Just absolutely love his lettering. It's so unique. I hand letter all my comic books, although I do everything digitally. I am hand lettering them digitally. I don't just put in any kind of font. I actually create a layer and I letter these myself each time. And so It's just a traditional way of doing it. I do love digital. I only work digital now, but I still hand letter even if it's done digitally. Um, I just I tried working the other day. I was drawing something on paper and I made a mistake, and I work on my iPad, so I tried to um undo, and I was like, Jesus, I'm working analog here. So yeah, so I had to just draw over it. So whiteout works too. But no, I find the iPad just so much easier. So I draw digitally. So anyway, Odin demands that they try to save both of them. They're both hurt, and want they um, he wants them saved. Just he is such an incredible artist. He doesn't draw every tree, but you can just tell. I mean, he just gives you enough so you can make a decision. It's so simple, so beautifully constructed. He's heavily influenced by Jack Kirby, but I will say this with my dying breath: he supersedes Jack Kirby in any way, shape, or form. Walter Simonson is an absolute master of his craft. Absolutely love his work. So, um, here's Lorelei, which we have met previously before. She finds uh, Beta Ray Bill to be ugly and doesn't think much of him. She's very prideful and very in the way she is. She's just not a very good person. She only looks at the outside. And Sith is trying to tell her that he's a good warrior, but she doesn't care. She's like I said, she only cares about the outside. So Odin is here and says that every dog has its day, and even Lorelei, but he's gonna go see them. Thor feels disgraced because he lost the fight. He's gonna renounce his godhood and leave Asgard. And Odin's gonna talk to Bill. He says he's not happy either. So just told him to hold on. Bill feels bad. But he needs the hammer so that he can fight. And they so Bill comes up with an idea. He says, or just ask Odin, can you help me? And Odin says that he would have demanded a sacrifice. However, he saved Thor, and thus he has given him greater gifts. So he will grant him his a wish. So Odin has departed. It's dusk. He sees some trolls or some dwarves here, um, and they recognize him, and he needs their help. These are the same dwarves that constructed Thor's hammer, but they need his help before they can do his task. And they say that they have a warrior that he needs Lady Sif to fight him. So it's now been 2 days, and they're still healing, and they see Sif leaving, and the nurse tells him that Sif is going to go fight a champion on their behalfs because, of course, they will not. They will make the hammer unless she fights their champion. So we now go and see that Odin asked her, but he did not command her, and it was her decision. But because she felt like she needs to fight something, she figured that this would make her feel better. So off she goes when she is sees that big dwarf here, and they fight. He cuts him. He continues. If you remember, we started last issue where this guy tried to keep Balder, and He's sort of sitting on him, kind of telling him what that Loki had attempted to kill Balder, or actually succeeded, and then he ended up in Hela's um, kingdom. So Volstag's kind of been telling him what's been going on. And now we are going to stop this here. Well, not stop the story. I'm sorry, wrong choice of words. But we're he's Walter Simonson is sort of pausing the story here because this was normally in the first page. I still think he should have put it on the first page, but he wanted to get straight to the action. But he just a one page. The guy's still working with his hammer and anvil, and he is about to hit it again. And every time he hits it, doom. So again, this is building up to a big. There's a payoff for all this coming up. And if it wasn't enough, he's setting up something for after this story. So Walter Simonson is working on all sorts of levels. So it right now it doesn't matter who this is, but there's like a rumble, and this creature has apparently freed himself, and he will destroy those that imprisoned him. So, but that's a story at another time. We're going back here where Lady Sif is fighting this champion of the dwarfs, and she beats him and says it's not even worth her time to kill him. And they explain this was actually part of their ruse. He has his name is Throg. He's lorded over the dwarfs, aided by his freakish size, and he was a bully and making life hard for them. And now that he's been defeated by a woman, he won't be bullying them anymore. So they will make the hammer for Thor. That night, Bill and Lady Sif have kind of a heart to heart. Again, Beta Ray Bill is modeled after a horse skull. Walter Simonson thinks that a horse is one of the most beautiful creatures, so he wanted to give it some nobility, but at the same time, a little bit disfigured because it is, after all, like the skull. You can see that she has feelings, or she's developing some kind of feelings, but then they're in the furnaces. They're gonna make the hammer, and I love the goggles. It just uh, safety first. Even if you're a god, you gotta wear your goggles. So they're heating. They are releasing the ore to make the hammer. They tell him he needs to release his enchantment, which he does, and ask Bill to take the hammer, and boom, Bill is transformed into that Thor-like creature. There's Simonson loves this panel so much he signed it, and we get the first appearance of the hammer Stormbreaker. And if you just watched the new Thor movie that came out last year, you'll know that that's Thor's hammer, and then that little girl now has Mjolnir. So, and so off they go to. Thor's gonna go with Bill to go fight those demons. They said that they're joining it. Love this panel. Just Simonson, like I said, he's such a master storyteller. Um, he was on point during this time. And here come the goats. By the way, these goats are badass. Unlike that movie, which they screamed all the time, these goats do not scream. These goats are, like I said, they're pretty badass. And Lady Sif is gonna go with them and help fight. So, like I said, these goats are pretty badass, and I wish they had not done that comedy bit in that Thor. I never found it. A joke or two would have been fine, but they really just wanted that movie to be funny all the time, and so anyway, Thor 339 by the one and only Walter Simonson. Hope you enjoyed it. Like, follow, subscribe.